What is up, everybody? Happy Old Testament Thursday. I'm Pastor Adam. I'm so glad you decided to tune in, check out, and see what we've got going on today. We're going to continue on in our series about evangelism. How do you do it? Why should you do it? How do you go about doing all these different things? Yada, yada, yada. You get the idea by now, hopefully. So, hey, I'm going to ask you a question. When you go out and you evangelize somebody, what do you say? What do you do? Do you start here? Do you start there? What words do you say? How does this all? I want to take us back to Exodus chapter 4, where God is talking to Moses and he says, Moses, hey, I need you to go do these things to get my people out of Egypt. You are going to be the spokesperson. And if you know the story, Moses goes, well, God, how they might not believe me, you know, I'm not a very good speaker, all these different things. And Moses has all these different excuses. Says, well, God, number one, they're not going to believe me. I'm just some Israelite, slave. They don't, blah, blah, blah. I just so happen to be lucky. And Moses had all these excuses, and God says, "Hey, you know what? Take this staff and then throw it on the ground." Turns to say, "Whoa, pretty cool." And then here's another one: you take water from the Nile. All these different things God has provided the answers for him. That's still not good enough. Moses goes on and says, "Well, Lord, pardon your servant. I'm not very good at speaking." And this is God's response. Exodus chapter 4, verse 11 through 12. The Lord said to him, who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak, and I will teach you what to say. God will teach you what to say. That question before, what do you say? What do you do this? God will teach you what to say. God will equip you. God can instant download things into your brain for you to say to somebody else. So what do you say? Hey, leave it up to the Lord. There are plenty of different tracks and ways to follow getting the idea of salvation across from people. My favorite is the Romans Road. It's perfect. It lays everything out for you. God will equip you to say and do what you need to do when it comes to evangelizing somebody. More often than not, God has already orchestrated things to line up perfectly for you to talk about Jesus, to talk about the Lord and what he did for them. God will equip you. And trust me, don't say, oh, I don't know, or I'm too scared. I don't think I can do it, God, because this is God's response after Moses kept coming up with excuses. Verse 13, but Moses said, pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else. Verse 14, then the Lord's anger burned against Moses. And he said, what about your brother, Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and he'll be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak, and I will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if your mouth and as if you were God to him. But take this staff in your hand so you can perform the signs with it. God's anger burned against Moses because Moses kept coming up with all these excuses. And yet God continues to work through Moses' excuses. He gets Aaron up, did all of these things. And maybe God even knew that Moses was going to have these things, and Aaron was already on his way. If that isn't even more confirmation that God is already working things out, God hates excuses. He burned with anger at Moses' excuses. He already told Moses he was going to equip him and train him and teach him to do what he has to do. God will and probably already has equipped you to go out and do evangelism, to go out and evangelize people. If you don't believe it, hey, have some more confidence in yourself. And if you don't have any confidence in yourself, well, hey, God took specific charge of this. He said he will teach Moses. I guarantee you, he will teach you, and I can teach you, and all these different things. Go and evangelize, because there's no excuse not to.